Welcome back to the channel, and this is actually my Kaho Minamo Historian EDH Mono Blue $20 Mana Severance deck. I actually got the idea from bah-bamm's Mana Severance EDH deck. It was $20 on Tapped Out, and it was really cool because he had this really cool story about playing a 4-player commander game, and everybody shows their commander, and the douchebags at the table are like, that's a shitty commander, and you're like, well, I kind of like her. And, you know, he outlined the plays of the game, and I mean, I'll kind of get into them, but essentially, when you play her, you get to search for 3 instants and exile them underneath her, and then you can pay their mana cost and tap her to actually use them without paying their mana cost again. The problems are if she gets removed or bounced, those cards are gone. So it's pretty much a scoop because this is a combo win deck. But I do like the fact that besides her, there are only 9 other cards in the deck other than lands. So you are really going to play 90 lands, and I tried to get as many older style or white border as possible. I think my upgrades are going to include all white borders, which makes my searching for the other 9 cards easier when Kaho comes into play. And maybe some graphic sleeves, something different than the clear sleeves. But all 90 lands, I'm going to get rid of all 90. Yeah, that's a big freaking stack. Oh, camera phone down again. All right. And I believe there's our first one because that is one of our targets. I think generally, yeah, let me move all 90 lands. And I'll explain how we get rid of all of those lands later, but the idea is that you are generally going to exile Brainstorm for card draw, Trick Bind, which is split second counter, and where are you? All right, so I am missing Mystical Tutor. So Mystical Tutor's in here with the land somewhere, and it could be at the very end. It is. It was the last card that I missed. And you're gonna grab Mystical Tutor. Generally, the turn order is gonna go turn 4. You play Kaho, Minamo Historian. You grab your 3 cards. Grab your 3. Turn 5, play your land because your hand is generally gonna be full of land. There's 90 lands. Mystical Tutor for Mana Severance. Put it on top of your deck. You're going to draw it the next turn. Turn 6, play your land, Mana Severance, and get rid of the rest of the lands. And then depending on what you had, you are going to be left with Brainstorm and Trick Bind on the board with Kaho, and either a Laboratory Maniac, a Frantic Search, a Gush, Counterspell, or Muddle. Muddle is a transmute option if you need to find Mana Severance quicker than the combo of using Minamo with Transmute, so it's a turn sooner. Laboratory Maniac is essentially your main win con because you're going to try to play it and you're going to try to keep your Counterspell and your Trick Bind up. However, another important thing to remember is you could just put card draw on the stack. So Frantic Search allows you to draw 2 cards and discard 2 islands in your hand and then untap your mana, so it's technically a free draw too. Gush I replaced for long-term plans in the deck because I'd rather just put 2 lands in my hand that I could discard to Frantic Search later, but it's draw 2 cards, so there's 4 card draw. And Brainstorm, so that's an additional 5 cards that you could draw when there's no cards in your deck. So they can try to counter all 3 or 4, but generally it's not going to happen. When people know the deck, they generally try to save all of their removal for Laboratory Maniac, so I'm kind of keen on playing Laboratory Maniac on like your last turn possible before you mill yourself out, or the turn before that, so that way you draw your last card and you have no more library, and then you can play any of the cards that you want, including Brainstorm or Trick Bind, which has split second on it, to stop them from doing anything on your last turn and draw 2, 5, 7 cards. I think that's pretty good with, additional counter spells up. So, again, I think upgrades for this deck are going to be better sleeves than the Ultra Pro clears because they're kind of shitty, but, the deck is a $20 combo win. I think it sneaks up and it gets people more than you might expect, but The next one is Marilyn, and it's a lot more fun, I think, for everyone at the table. But I really like this girl. I think she's great. I'm going to leave the original post in the descriptions, that way you can read it, because it's a pretty funny story, and you'd be surprised how much Kaho actually wins Commander. Because, you know, in a 4-player game, you're playing islands for 3 or 4 turns and not doing anything. People are going to leave you alone. I mean, they're expecting counter spells, but people are probably just not going to target you because you don't have a board with mana rocks or creatures or anything. So I think it's, you know, a pretty good deck, and I think it's a lot of fun. So feel free to give it a shot. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Comment, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.